At some point, you stopped being available. Not dramatically. Not in a way anyone could point to. It didn't feel like a decision. It felt like something inside you quietly stepping back, without asking for permission. And the strange part is, no one noticed. Not because it wasn't real, but because the kind of change that matters most usually happens in silence. You were still there, still answering, still listening, but something in you had already moved. And if you're honest, you can feel exactly when it started. Not a fight, not a betrayal, just a moment where something didn't land the way it used to. A tone, a look, a pause that lingered half a second too long. Your body noticed before your mind did. That's usually how it begins. You didn't think, I'm changing. You thought, that felt off. And then you kept going anyway. Because that's what you've always done. People think disrespect arrives loudly. Raised voices, crossed lines, obvious moments. But that's not how it usually enters. It arrives softly, through familiarity, through access. It comes disguised as comfort. You respond quickly. You explain yourself. You soften your edges so things don't feel tense. Not because you're weak, but because you're aware. And awareness in the wrong environment becomes exposure. You didn't change who you were. You just became easier to reach. And that's when something shifted. Not in them, in you. Your nervous system started learning a quiet lesson. Being available doesn't always mean being valued. And once your body learns that, it never forgets. You didn't announce your boundaries. You didn't make a scene. You simply began pulling back in places no one could measure. A pause before replying. A slower tone. Less explanation. And people felt it. Even if they couldn't name it. That's the part no one talks about. Disrespect doesn't disappear when you confront it. It disappears when access changes. When the version of you that overextends quietly steps out of the room. You didn't become colder. You became clearer. But here's what's uncomfortable to admit. Some people only felt close to you because you made it easy for them to be careless. And the moment you stopped doing that, they felt the distance. Not because you pushed them away, but because they were standing closer than they earned. You might tell yourself you're overthinking, but that's not what this is. Overthinking is noise. This is recognition. Your body adjusting its boundaries. Before your mind catches up, you stopped over-explaining, stopped proving, stopped filling silence just to keep peace. And something subtle happened. People started choosing their words more carefully around you. Not because you demanded respect, but because something in you stopped asking for permission. That shift? It's quiet, almost invisible, but once it happens, it can't be undone. Most people would have clicked away by now, but you didn't, because this isn't information, it's recognition. Something here feels familiar in a way you didn't expect. And that's because this isn't about behavior, it's about presence. The moment you stopped shrinking to fit the emotional comfort of others, the moment your energy stopped explaining itself, you didn't become distant, you became selective. And that's what changed how people treat you. Here's the part that's hard to sit with. You could go back to being available. You could soften again. You could make things easier for everyone else. But something in you would notice. A quiet resistance, a subtle discomfort. Because once you feel the difference between being needed and being chosen, your body doesn't forget. You may not talk about it. You may not even fully understand it. But it shows up in the way you pause before responding, in the way your eyes linger a second longer before looking away, in the way silence stops feeling awkward and starts feeling honest. That's the moment people sense a shift. Not because you changed who you are, but because you stopped abandoning yourself to keep things smooth. If something shifted while you were listening, don't label it yet. Don't analyze it. Don't explain it away. Just stay close to that feeling. Because once you start noticing it, you'll see it everywhere. In conversations that feel heavier than they should. In moments where you used to overgive, and now you pause. And when that happens, you'll know where to return. Once you feel the difference between being needed and being chosen, you can't unfeel it.